Welcome to the Vet Med Wellness and Leadership Podcast, where we discuss central challenges vet med leaders face, such as burnout, stress, and difficult interactions with clients and staff, just to name a few. In each episode, you will hear about actionable solutions that you can apply to your practice and invitations to connect with fellow leaders who are passionate about improving the wellness of the vet med profession. By subscribing, liking, commenting, or sharing this podcast, you are helping more veterinary professionals find the resources shared in these episodes. Thank you in advance for listening and supporting this show. I hope you enjoy it. Hey everybody, Crystal Stokes here, and I'm with Theresa Bohler. Now, interesting background Theresa has. She has been working with animals in some form or fashion for about 44 years. Veterinary assistant. She's also been a field assistant with the South Carolina State Wildlife and Marine Resource Department in the Endangered Species Program, which sounds very cool. And she also worked with African elephants as a zookeeper for 17 years. I can't imagine how fun that would be to give an elephant a bath. That's what I'm picturing. She really has this passion for working with people. She's a real people person. And so she uses that talent to now serve the veterinary profession by becoming a certified DiSC trainer. So DiSC is D-I-S-C, and it's a form of personality typology. So you guys that listen to this know I love personality and psychology. And so we're going to be talking about that today, how she uses her skills as a certified DiSC trainer to help veterinary professionals communicate better, deal with conflict, discover what motivates them, and essentially just really enjoy their work much, much more. And I think what we're going to do today is we're going to go through a couple of different assessments and help people understand what is DiSC and how you may be able to apply it to yourself. So Theresa, thank you for being with us today. And tell us a little more about this DiSC profile and how you got into this.
Well, thank you for having me on your podcast, Crystal. I'm really honored, and thank you for having me. I'm really excited about DiSC. As you mentioned, I've been in the animal field for many, many years, and I'll do a sidebar that's saying most people in the animal field say we're in the animal field because we don't want to work with people, right? But it's not true. The animal field, no matter where you're at, you're working with people. I had the luck to work for a company not too long ago who utilized DiSC assessment on their employees. They were very forward thinking. A lot of companies will do assessment before somebody is hired, and then they weed out those who don't think they have the proper personality for the company. This company did it after we were hired and then utilized our personalities to show how he can work with other people within our team or outside of our team or out in the world. And I thought that was just incredible. And I fell in love with DiSC, which is the assessment they use. And as I've stepped out of the zoo world back into the veterinary world, and I'm looking at some of the issues and problems they're facing now, I begin to think how this personality assessment could actually help staff work with teams, conflict resolution, with clients that can be tough to handle or they're not sure how to handle, because they can learn more about their personalities and basically why they're acting the way they're acting. So I just felt that this assessment, there's assessments all over of all different types. I like this one because it's simple, very simple. There's D-I-S-C. You're going to fall into one of those quadrants, or you're going to be a little bit of mix of both of them. And it's very easy to work with people and say, you know what? Yeah, this is why you're not getting along with this person, but let me show you some skills that can help you understand why you're both reacting to each other the way you are. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I want to do. I want to take this tool, which is what it is, into the veterinary world and help make their day just a little bit easier than they normally have.
I think that's fabulous. It's a great mission to have. And you know firsthand, because you've worked in it, you know what it has felt like to feel the strain and the conflict and not really know how to address it and to feel stuck. And then you felt the other side of it, which what it was like when you had a company that actually brought DiSC into your company and showed you all how to utilize this tool to make your work environment easier.
Yes.
All right. Nice. So
it's an amazing tool. It is real. And the classes can be so much fun and so engaging with the staff. So it's just a great thing to bring into any business at all, but in the veterinary world, especially. I just love it.
Okay. So let's talk about how this works. I know for me, what happened was I got an email from you that was an invitation to take the DiSC assessment. So all I did was I clicked on it, I put my email in, I had a little invitation code, I stuck that in, and then there were 3 different pages of just little questions. And I just had to pick A or B, basically. Or I had to pick 2. Am I more like this or less like that? So it was a very easy assessment. It didn't take me very long at all. I hit submit, and then you get the results. And so if you're doing this with a hospital, would you do that with all the different staff, and then you pull the results, and then what happens?
Generally, when I do it with the staff, each individual person gets their assessment like you got. They fill it out. I did allow you to see the results ahead of time, but generally I block them. They're not allowed to see the results until the day I'm there, the day we're having the class. And I'd like them to open up those tests and start talking. What am I? What are you? What is this about? So generally, they don't get to see it like you did ahead of time. And then it's an afternoon talking about what the D means, what the I means, what the S and the C means when we're talking about DiSC, what those different personalities are like, how to identify those type of personalities, and how to work with those personalities. And it's really a couple of hours of just having fun, learning how to communicate in a more effective way.
Oh, so fun. Okay. How about, would you like to go ahead and just share kind of in a nutshell fashion? Because I know we could do this for hours, but how about we just tell people what the D, the I, the S, and the C stand for, and what do they look like when you're like viewing somebody? How do you know if they're that particular type?
Okay. When you're looking at the DiSC assessment, a D is a driver. They are those decisive, we're going to do it. I'm going to get it done right now. There's not going to be any small talk. I have a plan. It's going to be done. Right? The I's are we love people and we're going to talk. And I'm going to talk and I'm going to have fun and I'm going to tell stories and I'm going to build those relationships. And the C's are your analyticals. I want the numbers. I want to see how it's done. I want to see the step-by-step process. I want it all put down on a plan for me. And our S personalities, those are the ones that we call kind of our steady people. They don't like change. They're very dependable workers, but they're steady and they're solid and they're very big on relationship building. So it's kind of like a quick overview of what each person is.
Got it. And so if I'm breaking these up, would you say like the D and I are a bit more extroverted, or is it assertive, and the C and S are more introverted or passive?
Absolutely. That's how they would be labeled. I would put that the D's and the I's as your extroverts and the S's and your C's as your introverts. Exactly.
Okay, great. Where should we go from here? Should we look at our profiles and talk about the differences there, or should we take it somewhere else?
Well, let's talk about our profiles, because I think we can kind of build off of that, because we're absolutely opposite in our profiles. And there are different DiSC assessment tests out there. And the one I chose, and the reason why I chose, I got certified in 2 different types, but this one also gives you 2 different blends, for lack of a better term. So you took this test. Part of it is on one graph, when you looked it over, is what you think people expect of you.
Yeah.
And then the other one is who you really are. And usually they're very similar. Mine are very similar. Yours are very similar. So you're actually what you think people see you as is a high D. So you're driven and you're determined and you're a doer and you're searching for those answers. Very much a D. I'm the complete opposite. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to wait for things to happen. And I'm going to build relationships first. I want you to like me before I give you any information.
Oh, Theresa, can I just tell you what's interesting is that I'm very attracted to people like you. Like when I look at my relationships, my close relationships, I always find myself feeling so drawn to the laid back, receptive, kind of patient, very connected types. I'm like, ooh, this is so lovely. So I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So our eyes, I have to tell you, I love eyes. The eye people, and this is what's funny when we go over your test, the eye people they're the talkers and they're the friendly ones and they're the outgoing ones and they're the ones I'm attracted to. Because if I'm at a day at a conference all day and I'm tired and I have to go to a dinner afterwards, those dinners that you're kind of voluntold to go to with the whole team and I'm exhausted, I go find an eye because I can stand there next to the eye and they can take over the conversation. I can just have as Simon Sinek once said, I can stand at the table and eat snacks while the eye is doing all the talking. So they just make life so much easier, right? And our C's, are analytical people. So you, with your high D, is what you expect people to expect of you. Mm-hmm. But who you really are is a blend of D and I.
Yeah.
So you've got that combination of I want to do, I'm driven, I'm going to get this done, along with the friendliness and the fun and the ease of talking to of a high I. And that's just a perfect blend.
It feels really true because if I think about like my professional journey, I definitely felt that push of being like the driven, get the good grades, do the hard sciences, the biochem and the organic and all that. And I loved calculus, which is very weird, but
oh, Lord bless you.
all of that stuff. And then but as I progressed in my career, I noticed that just the medicine side of things was not very fulfilling. And the way I got into psychotherapy was that, I'd been going like the medical route, medical. And then I just felt like I hit this wall of it's not the right fit. Something is missing. So I took years off and I just worked as a medical exercise specialist, which is like a fancy personal trainer. And I went to therapy. And I noticed my therapist was helping me figure out, what do you want to do with your life? And she had me do this vision of like my perfect day, my perfect week and year. What would it look like? And it really involved what I was doing with my current clients as a medical exercise specialist was the relationship we would build. I loved knowing the more intimate parts, not just how to help their body feel better, but who they were on the inside and to watch them get healthier and happier and sort of maturing and evolving. And I was like, it's so wonderful to me, and the engagement, like we'd be laughing while we're working out. And that's what led me to go towards psychotherapy, was just really the depth of humans and the engagement with people that I loved, but it wasn't really valued. I think in my earlier life, there wasn't like, that's a good thing or you should go after that. It was like, that didn't really hold value for me. But as I've aged and matured, I think my eye becomes more apparent that I love people. I really do. So that way you said that makes sense, that I felt like the external world expected me to be a D, to drive it home and get it done. And I'm good at it and I like it. But on the inside, I'm like secretly more, I have a lot of I inside.
Right. And it works perfectly with what you're doing with your life now. So you're still got the drive, you're still determined, but you're getting out there and your eye is coming out as you're doing your podcast, as you're meeting people, as you're creating everything that you're creating in the world. So truly, it's amazing when you look at, this isn't psychotherapy. You're not going to solve emotional problems with it, but it's just enough to let somebody know, wow, that's amazing. That really does match.
Totally.
Yeah. And mine does too. My manager at my previous job learned he had a team full of different personalities. Well, I have to learn how to work with all of these personalities. He was a high D. Myself and one other person are S's. We don't like change. We don't like things different from our schedule. We want our day to be, I know what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. Don't change it. And he has to learn to adapt to that personality type. Let me know ahead of time. Something's going to change in your life, Theresa, when it comes to work. So I'm letting you know ahead of time to give me time to prepare for that. So it's just learning how to adapt to those different personalities.
Right. Well, tell me about yours. So you have S as what people expect of you. Do you have something different of how you feel on the inside?
How I truly am is S and some C. And that is very, very spot on with how I live my life. Everything in my life is organized. So the C part, the analytical part, is everything's written down on a schedule. Everything's written down this way. This is how I plan my day. This is how I'm going to do this from the time I get up in the morning until I go to bed. That's the C part of me. That's not seen out in the public world because they just see the S person. But when I'm setting up my day and setting up my week and setting up my life, it is completely segmented and organized 100%. So that is definitely the C part in me.
Isn't that fascinating? All right. So for people listening, if they don't have access to a DiSC assessment, how might they know if they are a particular type? Are there any like hardcore indicators that would let a person know that they might be one type versus another?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a really good question. It's much easier than you think. It is just learning to step back and look at somebody's personality. I'll give some examples. So, and I'll do this from a sales rep point of view because that's what I'm in. I'm in the veterinary world as a sales rep right now. If I walk into a clinic and I want to speak to Dr. Smith and he comes out and he says, "Tell me what you want. I'm short on time. Just tell me what you want." You have a D personality. Tell him what he wants to know. I'm not going to try and be his friend. I've tried that. It didn't work. I just give that person the information. And so they're very direct. Give me the information. Give it to me now. I'll look at it later. I'll give you a call. That's a D personality. They don't have time to waste, right? The I personalities, and I'm going to do this all as vets. And I have a vet who does this. I know her. I love her. "Theresa, come in. Come into my office. Let me show you around the clinic what we've changed. And this is what my kids are doing. And this is where I'm at. And this is my new car I bought." And by the time I've left, I've been there an hour and we've had a long, wonderful, fun conversation. I haven't given her any of the information I'm supposed to give her because we've just been talking the whole time. That's an I. They just draw you into their lives and their stories and you're having fun. And as a sales rep, you just totally forget, "Oh, wait, I think I'm supposed to be selling her something. It's too late." So that's a true story, by the way. And our C personalities, they're just going to want to know the details. What time? Where's it at? Give me all the details. Where are we going? Why are we going? What are the steps to do this? Those are your C's. They want information so they can put it all in their brain and organize it in a way that's going to work for them. And the S's are all about relationships. They're going to be the friendly ones, the huggers, the how are you doing? How's the staff doing? Can I help you with anything? They're just the ones they get the calls from people all the time. It's just so nice talking to you, that kind of thing, because you're the ear for people. And those are the ones that you just want to talk to and unload because they're concerned about you and they want to be your friend. Aww. So it really is much easier. I think if you spent a day going out to the mall or watching people, you'd be able to very easily say, "Oh, look at that guy. That's a D." Or, "Oh, look at that person. That's got to be a C. Look how she's asking the sales rep," all this kind of stuff. So it really is easy to figure out who is what. The difficulty is how to take what your personality is and be able to blend it well with the person you're with that doesn't match with you.
Okay. I'll speak to this one right now because being a D and also, in other personality typologies, I am more of a dominant, can sometimes bulldoze type. And what I've had to learn is to not be a bull in a china shop. Like notice there's china and don't smash it. So, I found what's been very helpful for me. And I think a lot of this was kind of innate. I definitely had these skills before I became a therapist, but becoming a therapist made it stronger, which is slow way down and be very perceptive. Like really try to tune in to the person in front of you. Because we naturally in the veterinary profession do that with animals. Like say you have a dog on your table, you immediately are instinctually evaluating, is this dog at ease or is it anxious? Might this dog be a nipper or not? What do I need to do to help take care of this animal and make sure that I'm meeting the animal where it is psychologically.
Right. Perfect analogy.
So we do that with people. And I think about if I'm engaged with someone who's also a D, then we're just getting it done, right? It's like short to the point, top level, tell me what you need to know, move on. If I'm with an I, then I would want to be more social, more personal, take a little more time, not be so to the point and that I can tell, like, it's sometimes hard for me. I've felt like when there's pressure, like I'm in an operations position, I feel like I forget to be relational because it's like, I got to get it done. But you have to remember the relationship is valuable.
Yes.
If I was meeting with a C, I would remember to slow down and provide the details, be very detail oriented, give all the facts. And if I was with an S, then I would want to make space for, what would it be like slowing down a bit, relational part again, making sure there's time to really connect on a deeper level, and to know that being steady and just kind of that balanced, steady energy, like not being all over the place.
Perfect. Yes. You couldn't do a better analogy than what you just did. Exactly.
Yes, I'm getting DiSC knowledge in my brain.
You're getting DiSC knowledge, and it's awesome. And it's fun. And I'll give you a couple of examples. But I was in training for DiSC at my previous company. They did the DiSC assessment, and then they broke us up into groups where none of us matched personalities and gave us a project. And we really had to learn how to work with each other. But the funniest part of it was when they broke us up into our own group. So there was a group of D's, a group of I's, a group of C's, a group of S's. And we all absolutely fell into the categories I was watching people because that's what I do as an S. I was just looking around the room. The I's were chatter, 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 all over the place, not working on their project. The D's were completely done. The C's had lists. In my group, we were standing there going, do you want to be the one that writes stuff down? Do you? No, that's okay. I'm sorry. You can go ahead and do it. Absolutely 100% fell into our personalities. And it was so funny. It was just right there in your face. Wow, we are really who this test says we are.
Oh, I love it. And this is the beauty of it. So I'm thinking about when I've done team development, I use the Enneagram, but the systems are all similar.
Yes.
And I always say, you need all different types to make the world go round. So you notice if you just have a team that's all S, you might not get much done. You're very indecisive. And if you're all D's, you might get it done, but it was so like fast, and it may not have like the depth and structure that you would have had if you had an S and a C on the team. Or, we all bring really critical components to the big picture. And I was wondering if you might have any examples of how you use this like in conflict resolution, because I know that's a big topic right now. Oh, I have a coworker, they're toxic. Like we don't work well together. It's horrible. Or, this client, every time they come, it's always like great on each other. And I just want to avoid the whole situation. So do you have any examples like that you could share of how you've used DiSC?
Yes. And that's actually the top of my list of things I want to do to work with clinics, with veterinary clinics specifically, because that's my comfort zone. And that's where I feel people really need help. We know across the nation, there's many issues in vet clinics. They're short on staff across the nation. They're short staffed, they're underpaid, short on vets. Vets are underpaid, enormous amounts of debt. COVID made things so much harder for them because they were doing curbside service and everybody's in masks, and stress levels just grew and grew and grew and grew. And then those personalities start crashing, because who do you spend most of your time with in your day? Your coworkers, right? Your coworkers. And when you're annoyed and when you're tired and when you're exhausted and when you're frustrated, who are you going to take that out on? Mm-hmm. Your coworkers. And people start to snap. Morale goes down. Conflict happens. We've always heard there's toxic people. How do you bring that into a workplace? Number one, yes, I got DiSC certified, but number two, 2 years ago, I went to eCornell online and became certified in conflict resolution as well, because I want to take this to the clinics. So I don't need to know what the conflict is when I go to a clinic. It doesn't matter. Conflict doesn't matter. What matters is how do you resolve that conflict within the team. So you have almost always a really strong personality that's trying to make all the decisions and be the go-to person. And you have somebody who's not quite that way and feeling, I don't like to use the word bully, but feeling that they're not getting a fair shake. So how do you sit down? I never want to point people out. I'd love to do it in a group team and compare. this innate person, the person's innate personality. This is kind of who they are. This is who this person is and who they are. Let's find a way to come into the middle and say, you know what? I understand you're this really strong personality. I understand not. And let's build a plan from there on where we can have some resolution. And I'll say this, a company I worked with quite a few years ago, we had a lot of conflict going on. And they brought in somebody from HR to do a personality assessment, right? And she came in, she went over all of our personalities. And there was somebody there that I was having a lot of conflict with, a lot. We were really, it was detrimental to the team. It was not good. And I was just as much a part of it towards the end as she was. But after the assessment, we were totally opposite on the scale, completely opposite. And after we learned about personalities and after we learned about why we ticked the way we did, I understood her better. And I think she understood me better. Were we ever good friends? No. But were we able to have a cohesive working environment together? Yes. And that's the key. And that's the key that they have to understand. You don't have to be best friends. You don't have to love the person you're working with every day. But you do need to have a good, cohesive working environment with them. And this is where I can help you do that.
I love that you also have the training in conflict resolution. So I think people listening today, like, notice that if you're an organization or a practice manager and you're thinking, gosh, we have some of these challenges in our hospital, here is a resource for you. This is what you do, what you're passionate about. And these things are very resolvable. And there are many different ways to go about it. And I think that just showing your team, we're listening, we care, we understand that there are these challenges going on. We're going to bring in some resources to help. So, Theresa, tell me more about what is your your overarching goal with why you use DiSC with veterinary hospitals and what you hope to accomplish.
My real goal is to truly help the vet clinics and their staff make their day easier, because we know how hard their days are and harder since COVID. I would love to see a day where there is a team of people, somebody like myself who can go in and work with personalities and conflict resolution, somebody that can go help them with compassion fatigue issues, somebody that can go in and do social work, because there is a degree in veterinary social work now. Just to have a group of people that can go into a clinic and say, we're here to help you. Let us help you with the problems you're having, and let's make your lives a little bit easier as you're traversing your day-to-day lives in this medical field. And that would be my dream goal.
Oh, I share your goal. We're goal buddies.
There you go.
Yes, these people do incredible work, and they deserve to feel nourished by their work and supported. Yes. And I think that the type of thing that you're offering is a really big step in the right direction for this. And for people listening today, if they're interested in learning more about DiSC or your services, where should they find you, or what's the best way for them to connect with you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn through Theresa Bohler at LinkedIn. They can connect with me by email, tmbohler@gmail.com.
Fabulous. I'll put all that in the show notes, as well as the adorable picture of you with one of your many, many pets. Yes. Let's just leave off with that, because I do want you to mention that. Can you tell our listeners about the different kinds of pets that you have, and we'll stop there?
Yes. Well, my husband and I both came from the animal field. We both met in the zoo world, and we obviously both love animals and rescues. So we currently have 4 dogs, 6 cats, 2 African spur-thighed tortoises, a ball python, assorted snakes and bugs and turtles, and fish. And I feel like I may be leaving something out, but I think that covers most of it.
How big do those tortoises get?
Oh, they'll get well over 100 pounds. In fact, we jokingly say we're not leaving our daughter's money in our will to get the tortoises.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
They're about 40 pounds right now.
That's so cool. Oh, and did you mention the python?
Yes, we have the ball python.
Yeah. Oh, such a great assortment. So true animal lovers we're here listening to today. I'd love to see your pet crew one day. I think tortoises are so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make a trip to Florida.
This sounds like a good plan. Well, Theresa, thanks again for coming on the podcast today. The work you're doing is so fun. I could talk personality with you all day long. I think this has been really fun and informative and different. So I hope the people listening today have enjoyed it. And just thanks again for your time and for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you feel stoked after listening to this episode. And as always, I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Is there a topic that you want to know more about? Please let me know. And thank you again for subscribing and sharing your favorite episodes with others. It really means a lot.